What's happening? Champ here, and we're going to be playing Pokémon Scarlet with just a Lechonk. The rules? Level cap, which is determined by the ace Pokémon, unless it's near impossible, like losing halfway through the battle. No items, it's too overpowered. I love friendship maxing, since we're seeing the lowest level possible, and it's not that OP, but we do get some sweet clutches. No hyper training, unless I'm level 100, and the battles are just as difficult as they are. Picked Sprigatito so Nemona would end up with Clavell, a fighting type. Caught a Lechonk and named him Ralph Oinken. Fitting, since Lechonk have a sharp sense of smell, and Oinkalon's scent is sweet and floral. Oh, and female Oinkalon can leap over 16 feet? Wild. After catching Ralph, I just leveled him up to where he needed to be, then I pushed through the whole prologue and got into some training before our first real test, Nemona at the gate. First up, Quaxley. Echoed voice ramped up nicely here, and Quaxley just couldn't keep up. Poor little guy is just hitting hard enough to break through. Next up, Palmy. With Echoed voice getting 3 stacks, Palmy goes down with an OHKO after it does decent damage against me, eating an unnecessary orange berry. This was done on the first attempt. And now that we have the freedom, I grab the TM's Play Rough in South Los Platos, Rest in Northwest Los Platos, Mud Slap and Thief in South Province Area 2, Takedown in West Province Area 1, Rain Dance and Bullet Seed in Asado Desert, and Sleep Talk in Cascarafa. For items, I bought Power Bracer for attack training, Silk Scarf, Leftovers, and Power Belt for defense training. I battled every trainer from Los Platos to Cortando, maxed out Ralph's attack inside Inlet Grotto, and even found an Adamant Mint, straight to Ralph, no hesitation. Gym number 1, Katie. Level cap 15. Things start off with Nimble, and Nimble's double kick packs a bit of spice. Ralph almost lands an OHKO. Struggle Bug does about the same damage, but in the end, Nimble goes down. Up next, Tarountula. Tarountila's too slow to stop Ralph from getting a rest off. A quick wake up from the Chesto Berry, just in time before Bug Bite could steal it. And another almost OHKO. Going into Teddiursa with this much HP? Yeah, it's looking a little scary. Teddiursa comes in, and a Covet brings Teddiursa into wind range, but it fires back with a near win of its own. That was way too close. This was done on attempt number 2. Then we move on to the Stony Cliff Titan, Klawf. In phase 1, Klawf's not too bad. Opens with a block while Ralph chips away with Bullet Seed. But Anger Shell? Yeah, that does work, dropping Ralph straight to 1 HP, way too close for comfort. We pull through and move on to phase 2. Got lucky with a 5-hit Bullet Seed, taking a huge chunk out of Klawf's HP. But honestly, even luckier that I went for block instead of attacking. Ralph would have been deep in the red if it had. This was done on the first attempt. After that, I wrapped up defense training, aimed for 130. Next, grabbed the power band to start special defense training. Picked up a Bulldoze and South Province Area 3. Then I caught a Skolvet, leveled it up for Swallow, Spit Up, Stockpile, and Stuffed Cheeks. Bought a Mirror Herb, letting Ralph learn them all. Next, we take on Gym 2's Whippersnapper, Brassius. I thought Brassius' level cap was 18. Turns out it was 17. Didn't notice until the editing. Doesn't change much though. Sudowoodo's Trailblaze always outspeeds and takes me out after 2 hits. But first off comes Petilil. Petilil has a Sleep Powder and a Mega Drain, which could be a problem if it drags the fight out. So instead of risking it, I take it out quickly and set up Stockpile against Smoliv. Little guy can't do much anyway. Next up is Smoliv. Stuffed Cheeks kick in for some healing and extra +2 defense. Perfect prep for the ace. Then Sudowoodo. A full power split-up slams Sudowoodo with a massive 600 base power. Sturdy keeps it standing, but not for long. Without spit-up, Ralph would have been worn down. Sudowoodo's high attack and defense would have taken over. This was done on attempt number 2. Then we take on the Open Sky Titan, Bombirdier. Bombirdier is the only Titan that skips the pause between phases, so we're diving straight in. In phase 1, Play Rough hits hard, taking it down in just 2 hits. But its swing attack drops me to 2 HP, just enough to trigger the Papa Berry. Phase 2, I played it smart with Nacli and Protect, alternating to stay in the fight while Nacli chipped away. Bombirdier only targeted Ralph once before focusing entirely on Nacli. Before long, it goes down and we move on. This was done on attempt number 3. More exploring now that we can swim. In Province 5, we got Mudshot, Litleo, and we stocked up on a few Papa berries. Then we take on our first Team Star captain, Giacomo and the Segen Starmobile. Now I accidentally overleveled a bit, but this was the first real challenge. I probably would have needed a few extra levels anyway. I tried Stuffed Cheeks and Bulldoze, but they weren't doing enough. So we start off with Poniard. Poniard wasn't too bad. Setup went smoothly despite its metal claw onslaught. It even missed when Ralph went for rest, letting him wake up instantly with a Chesterberry. After that, headbutt time. Landed 2 crits out of 3 for the win, and then the Segen Starmobile. Intimidate turns this battle into an even slower crawl, but we work around it by spamming Mudslap to chip away at Segen's accuracy. Before long, it stops going for Snarl and starts using Swift instead, the weakest move it has. Starmobiles have unlimited power points, so this isn't about stalling Giacomo out. It's a race against my own move count. I need to take him down before Ralph runs out of options. Down to my last rest. This was it. Now or never. Segen landed 2 metal sounds, dropping my special defense to -1. One Snarl could have ended it right there. But luck was on our side. It misses with that, and we finally take the win. This was done on attempt number 9. Then Nemona comes back for round 2. And here's a human error. I forgot to save after Giacomo and ended up losing to Nemona. Since I leveled up during the fight, going for a rematch would just make things easier, and honestly I was this close to winning anyway. A few tweaks, setting up with stockpile or running with a loaded dice or for better bullet seed hits could have made a difference, but I really didn't want to fight Giacomo again. So for the sake of my sanity, we're pressing on. Here, Rockruff and Palmy were pretty easy. 1 to 2 hits on them. The biggest issue was Quaxwell. Went to South 5 to get Eviolite from the League rep, which my obvious good reason becomes the favorited item throughout this challenge. Then gym number 3, Iono. First Pokemon, Wattrel. With Yon in the arsenal, setting up and healing is a lot easier, for now. Iono got real lucky landing that paralysis, but luck swung back my way and never kicked in, and I managed to get everything off just fine. Next up, Bellybolt. Bellybolt plays out just like Wattrel. Yon gives me a safe setup, letting me take it down despite its extra bulk. Luxio entering the fray. Luxio's Intimidate might make things a little tougher for Miss Magus, but in the end, it doesn't change much. Miss Magus isn't exactly tanky, so even with the attack drop, Ralph still handles it without much trouble. And here it is, Miss Magus. It packs a bit more of a punch compared to the rest of Iono's team, making this fight a little more dangerous. But with the Yawn Rest combo, Ralph stays in control, keeping his health in check while steadily wearing Miss Magus down. Even with its damage output, it just can't break through our sustain. And after a slow but steady battle, we lock in for the win. This was done on attempt number 1. Then comes Team Star's Mela and the Sheeter Starmobile. First coming in, Torkoal. Torkoal's Clear Smog means stockpile is a no-go, wiping away any buffs I try to stack. So instead, I focus on accuracy drops and Rain Dance to weaken its fire moves. At one point, Rain Dance should have ended, but the damage suddenly returned to normal while the rain kept going. Turns out there are different intensities of rainfall, ranging from a light drizzle to a full-blown thunderstorm, and if the rain isn't heavy enough, it won't actually weaken the fire moves. Guess those Jigglypuff and Hoppip got a real rough time when the weather takes a turn. Unfortunate, but now I know. With Torkoal down, the Sheeter Starmobile comes in. And this battle really made me feel like it was time to start maxing all Ralph's friendship. I was getting tested way too much. Most of my attempts were spent dealing with Torkoal's relentless damage, so when I finally made it to Sheeter, things didn't get any easier. Sheeter is no joke. It kept pushing Ralph to the brink, almost taking him out, but thanks to the friendship we already built, Ralph held on and refused to go down. One of the best moments was when Sheeter suddenly switched to spamming Swift, giving me the perfect opening to keep chipping away without worrying about my HP. That small break in the chaos was all I needed to secure the win. This was done on attempt number 7. So after that I grabbed Iron Head in East Province 2, Body Slam in South Glaciado Mountain, and Seed Bomb in North Province Area 1. Halfway through the Titans now, and we are taking on the Lurking Steel Titan, Orthworm. In Phase 1, Orthworm's Steel Typing and Earth Eater ability makes this fight tricky. Ground moves just won't fail, they'll actually heal it. And that's when I decided to add Endeavor, letting me bypass its resistances completely. Now I got pretty lucky early on, with Orthworm using Wrap instead of Iron Tail, giving me the perfect chance to rest and recover some HP. Even with all that, its high defense made chipping it down slow, so I swapped in Hyper Voice for that little bit of extra damage. Every bit counts in a fight like this. Phase 2 starts, and right as Orthworm kicked up a sandstorm, the rain decided to roll in too. Talk about multitasking. For this phase, I swapped out Endeavor for Protect, since it worked so well against Bombirdier. Figured it was worth trying here too. Toadschool's Supersonic really came in clutch, keeping Orthworm confused long enough to avoid serious damage. Surprisingly, Orthworm held on for a while, only going down near the very end. His final move? Wrap. Aimed at Toadschool instead of me. The only damage I took this round was from Sandstorm, making this phase way smoother than expected. Phase 1 took 7 attempts, Phase 2 took only 1. After that, I got the last obtainable TM for Ralph, Zen Headbutt. Now halfway through the gyms, we go against Kofu, and the first one to take us on is Veluza. The first thing I learned in this battle, Sunny Day doesn't like to override Sandstorm. Good to know. Well, I tried using Trailblazer for extra damage and speed boost, but Veluza hit way too hard, making the Yawn the real MVP here. Putting it to sleep gave me the breathing room I needed, turning the fight in my favor. Veluza down, next up, Wugtrio. Wugtrio was a much easier fight compared to Veluza, being more of a glass cannon. A lucky headbutt miss sealed the deal, letting me take it down without having to rely on rest spam. And with Wugtrio down, comes in Crabominable. The Crabominable gave me a scare with Rock Smash, dealing devastating damage, but Ralph held on. Then, a lucky Crab Hammer miss gave me the perfect opening to strike back and secure the win. This was done on attempt number 2. Now I know what you're thinking. Yawn and rest make things too easy. But no, untrue. This challenge has been brutal at times, forcing me to take breaks just to clear my head before trying again. Some battles drained me more than Ralph. Next up is Team Star's Atticus and the Navi Starmobile. Coming in is Skuntank. Skuntank isn't a hard hitter, so I took a chance to set up and take it out quickly. Risky move though, Toxic landed and Venoshock started dealing extra damage. Luckily, with a full stockpile, Ralph was tanky enough to power through and secure the win. With Skuntank down, in comes Muck. With Ralph's health running low, I wasn't sure he'd survive another hit. But Muck misses, giving us just enough time to rest. Sludge Wave was still a real threat, landing 3 solid hits before I could fight back. The first Body Slam left Muck just above half, and even a high roll wouldn't have finished the job. But then, the second one landed as a crit, securing us the win. Muck down, next, Revavroom. Revavroom's 4 times weakness to ground make this a no-brainer. One Bulldoze gone. Oko, Revavroom gone. Next up, Navi. And the Navi Starmobile felt like a relentless tank. In some attempts, crits took me down, keeping me on the edge the whole fight. Stockpile kept us in the game, but the damage output wasn't looking great. Still, luck was on our side. We only needed 2 rests to push through and secure the win. We got this on attempt number 7. Next up, the gym leader legend himself, Larry. And coming in first is Komala. Komala's comatose ability means no free sleep turns for me, so I had to set up carefully while taking hits. Yawn made things tricky. but a lucky miss let me squeeze in my final stockpile. With the setup complete, I rested to shake off the second yawn, healed up, and sealed the win in just 2 hits. Kamala down, comes in the Dunsparce. The Dunsparce might look goofy, but it hits hard and has a solid bulk, so I had to respect its damage. With Yawn back in play, I could at least sneak in a few free hits. Things got tense when we woke up at the same time. Glare landed, and a critical hit nearly knocked Ralph out. To make matters worse, Body Slam paralyzed the Dunsparce, preventing him from falling asleep. Luckily, he got fully paralyzed on the next turn, giving me the breathing room to rest. After a back and forth struggle, we finally landed on the winning Body Slam. The Dunsparce down. Next up, Staraptor. Now for Big Boy Star. Intimidate really put us at a disadvantage here, but the real problem is Facade. It hits like a truck. Thankfully, Staraptor falls asleep before I could take Ralph out, giving me the chance to land a few cheeky hits. I go for rest, and in a stroke of luck, Ralph wakes up immediately, keeping us in the fight. Staraptor stays asleep for a full 3 turns, but just as I think we have it in the bag, it wakes up and lands a crit, nearly stealing the win. But it isn't nearly enough, as we hold on and take on the victory. This was done on attempt number 2. No saving and prepping for this Nemona fight. It's a straight up test of strength. Win or lose, we're pushing forward. Also, I ended up going into this battle a bit overleveled. First up, Lycanroc. The usual stockpile setup against Lycanroc. Lycanroc was a bit annoying with its rock type moves, making me flinch a few times, slowing down the progress. But once we finally landed enough hits, it went down, clearing the way for the rest of the fight. Down goes Lycanroc and in comes Goomy. Goomy was an easier opponent, much easier, just a simple yawn and a rest cycle. Being a first stage Pokemon, its attacks don't hit too hard, and with our setup in place, we landed a clean Oko, moving on without any trouble. Goomy down, Pomo in. Pomo wasn't too much of a threat, but it did manage to paralyze me right before I took it down. The funny part? I landed a clean Oko, meaning I could have avoided the paralysis together if I had just gone straight for the attack. A lesson learned, but at least we're still moving forward. Pommel down, Quackball in. Quackball is definitely the hardest hitter of Nemona's team. I get the usual yawn and rest off, but the problem is, it wakes up before Ralph does, landing a free hit. Not great, so I double down, yawn, rest again. I've got a good amount of rests left, so I might as well play the long game and look for an opening. And it pays off. Ralph wakes up first this time, letting me land a final blow before Quackball can do the same to us. That secures the win. This was done on attempt number 1, Champ 2, Nemona 1. Then we go up into the mountain to take on Gym 6, Rhyme. We start off with a battle against Banette and Mimikyu. Terrestrializing won't do much for me here, but being a normal type is a huge plus since these two rely heavily on ghost moves. To speed up the fight, I grabbed the lowest level Magikarp I could find. As expected, it gets taken down immediately while Banette attempts a Shadow Sneak on me. The crowd hypes him up, boosting their accuracy. Banette's strongest move against me is a Sucker Punch, and Mimikyu can only use Slash. Since I'm just setting up, only Mimikyu is doing any damage, and it's barely anything. Baby damage. I feel pretty safe. Mimikyu does land a crit, but since I hit back with a super effective move, the crowd cheers for me, boosting my attack. No more slash crits thankfully, so I rest and even get a pre-turn wake up. Their speed increases, but it doesn't really matter here. Banette eventually runs out of Sucker Punch and switches to Icy Wind, which barely does anything aside from lowering my speed. At this point, I take out Mimikyu's disguise and decide to finish off Banette first. Banette down, Houndstone in with Mimikyu. With the takedown, the crowd boosts my attack again. The big damage almost takes out Houndstone, the crowd loving it, bringing my speed back to normal. Ralph gets the rest in before they could take him out, surviving an onslaught. Knowing that no matter how many times I rest, You'll always bring me down low. So I decide to take the chance and take out Houndstone, hoping that Toxtricity will show me mercy. A moment to appreciate DJ G Rave. Houndstone down, Toxtricity in with Mimikyu. Hyper Voice takes a real shot at taking me out, but Ralph holds on and gets a clutch rest in, followed by a pre-turn wake up, finally catching a break. The crowd goes wild for Toxtricity, boosting everything, making things even more intense. Toxtricity goes for discharge, hitting Mimikyu as well. This works in my favor, letting me focus on Toxtricity while it slowly chips away at its own teammate. I managed to get another rest off, and miraculously wake up turn 1, securing me the win. This was done on attempt number 1. Now to take on the Quaking Earth Titan, Great Tusk. I originally tried to take on Nemona at level 43, but she proved to be a real challenge, so I decided to switch things up and take on the Quaking Earth Titan instead, since it was just one Pokemon. That is why I ended up being level 44 for this battle, and for a few other reasons later. Starting with phase 1, I decide to screw the setup and go straight for the jugular. I use only Chilling Water to attack. This gives me decent damage against it, with it being super effective, and it lowers its attack. I rest once with a pre-turn wake up, and it starts using Brick Break, dealing a decent amount of damage, bringing me to 2 HP. But I managed to end phase 1 on that turn. Incoming phase 2. The phase 2 took a few more tries. I couldn't rely on Scovillin to tank all the hits this time, so I went all in on offense again, spamming Chilling Water and banking on the attack drops to keep me alive. Luckily, it paid off, and Quaking Earth went down before I did. Phase 1 took 2 attempts, and Phase 2 took 4. Nemona comes in for round 4, with Lycanroc the first one. Now this isn't a forced battle, so I'm aiming for a clean win, no excuses. My biggest concern here was over-leveling for Tulip. Nemona alone would push me up 2 levels, and the gym challenged another 2, so I had some room to work with. Across multiple tries, Lycanroc flinched me over and over, and if it wasn't a flinch, it was crit. I tried Covert Cloak to block flinches, but Sand Attack made the fight unbearable in the long run, so I swapped to Clear Amulet at the cost of Eviolite's defense boost. I started with Stockpile, taking advantage of Lycanroc's obsession with Sand Attack, which worked flawlessly. Chilling Water chipped away at its HP while lowering its attack. The flinches were relentless, but eventually, I took it down and decided to save rest for later in the fight. Lycanroc down, Sliggoo in. A clean Oko on Sliggoo with the Terrestrial boost, but my HP was running low, making me nervous for Palmet. Sliggoo down, Palmet in. Palmet nearly takes me out at 3 HP, but I clutch a rest just in time. I go with Chilling Water to lower its attack and to chip it down, aiming to enter the Quackval fight with high HP. A few hits in, and it paralyzes Ralph, but looks on my side with a timely rest and a pre-turn wake-up. I managed to lower its attack 4 times before finishing it off, squeezing in one last rest for extra HP. Oddly, it never used Arm Thrust. Not that I'm complaining. Palmet down, Quackval in. Quackval hits like a truck, even through my stockpile boosts. The rain only makes things worse. I go for Chilling Water to weaken it, trying to stay alive. Then luck turns in my favor. Ralph dodges Aqua Jet and sneaks in a rest, and misses again, and Ralph wakes up instantly. Finally, things are looking up. Ralph barely hangs on and lands another rest, waking up pre-turn. With high HP, I go for Body Slam, and it's a crit. That crit seals the deal, letting me secure the win with one final Body Slam. This was done on attempt number 17. Now for the gym leader, Tulip. Being overleveled against Tulip was inevitable. To face her on equal footing, I would have needed to take on Nemona and the Quaking Earth Titan at level 41, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead. Still, given what I had to go through later on, I'd say it all balanced out in the end. First on, Farigiraf. The usual stockpile setup here. Farigiraf sets up a Reflect, which only delays the inevitable. We managed to paralyze it, making us the faster ones now. Ralph wakes up after the first turn, and once Reflect fades, we finally take it down. Farigiraf down, Gardevoir in. Body Slam lands and paralyzes Gardevoir, but Synchronize gets Ralph too. Psychic is a little concerning with its chance to lower special defense. Thankfully, Ralph wakes up quickly for another free heal. He's just goated right now. And Gardevoir down, Espathra in. Espathra didn't last long. Its psychic attacks did some decent damage, but 2 body slams were all it took to say goodbye to Espathra and hello to Florges. Florges hits hard no matter what, making Rest a risky move. Luckily, I did more than half its HP in one hit, so it was just 1 turn away from going down. It almost took out Ralph, but we managed to secure the win. This was done on attempt number 1. Now for the final gym leader, Grusha. Since Ralph was level 49, there was no time like 49 to take on Grusha. First in, Frostmoth. Frostmoth prioritizes Tailwind first, even though we're slower. This gives me a chance to toss a Yawn right away for a safe setup. Luckily, it dodges Blizzard, making things easier. I tried multiple times to set up without Yawn, but Frostmoth just does too much damage, so Yawn was necessary. Once Tailwind wears off, I Terrestrialize and boom! Beautiful crit Oko. Great start to the battle. Frostmoth down, Beartick in. Beartick was another phenom, dealing big damage before I could do anything. Luckily with Stockpile, we managed to survive, then land a nasty crit, bringing him 1 hit away. Beartick gets just above half HP before we take him out. Beartick gets us just above half HP before we take him out, with Satitan coming in next. Satitan has a decent attack, but massive HP. After 1 body slam, I decided Yawn to set up a rest and keep myself healthy for Altaria. We both get our full turns of sleep, which actually works in my favor, giving me the advantage. An even better advantage when Ralph dodges the Ice Spinner, letting us face the big bird with a clean bill of health. Satitan down, Altaria in. Altaria comes in, and we Yawn right away, looking for that advantage. Hurricane deals baby damage, thanks to Altaria's low attack, but the chance to flinch is a concern. Unfortunately, we paralyze her, letting Altaria stay awake, but it also lets us move first. We go for the body slam, and Altaria misses the hurricane, letting us seal the deal for the win. This was done on attempt number 4. Now to take on the second last team star, Ortega and the Rukba Starmobile. Now they caught up to my level. First in, Azumarill. Both Azumarill and Wigglytuff have Charm, so we need a plan. Otherwise, I'll be doing baby damage. Swapping in Clear Amulet means lower defense, making Yawn riskier. Luckily, a mix of misses and failed charms helps, but Azumarill still hits hard thanks to huge power. That's where Chilling Water comes in clutch. Paralysis is huge here. Ralph gets a rest off before Azumarill can finish him, then wakes up first turn. He's no pig, he's a goat. Body Slam almost takes it out, but Azumarill is too paralyzed to attack. 1 more Body Slam finishes the job, and we head into Wigglytuff at full health. Azumarill down, Wigglytuff in. This fight was sadly one-sided. Wigglytuff kept spamming charm fails, letting me get a completely free win. Wigglytuff down, Daxbun in. Baby Doll Eyes again? They just can't take a hint. Daxbun is a bit tankier, but Body Slam still does over half. Another Baby Doll Eyes. What is going on Ortega's head? Finally it goes for Play Rough, but it's too little too late. Ralph body slams his way to the finals. Daxbun down, the Rookba Starmobile in. The one-time chance for Steel Roller to shine with Misty Surge. Even after Stockpile, it does decent damage, so I throw in some chilling water to soften the blows. Magical Torque brings me dangerously low, but right as Ralph goes for another chilling water, miss. That gives me a free rest. Confuse Ray comes out while Ralph sleeps, but somehow it never once affected him the entire battle. Insane. Ralph was just locked in, ready to win. From there, it's a back and forth war. Rookba pushing me low before every rest. But in the end, it's a straightforward whittled down battle, and Ralph stands victorious. This was done on attempt number 2. Next is the last Titan, the False Dragon Titan, Dodonzo, and Tatsugiri. Now the False Dragon is level 57, but Ares Team Star is level 56. I'm not sure why I tackled False Dragon first. My notes don't say. Maybe I wanted to get climbing first, if there's a reason for that. Phase 1. Starting off with the usual setup, but Dondozo hits too hard. Water Pulse's confusion lands, but Ralph stays lucky and gets all his moves off. He wakes up on the first turn, letting us get the third stockpile in. Another confusion hit, but now it's time to lower Dondozo's attack a bit before we get fully offensive. Ralph hits himself here, but stockpile keeps the damage low. A little frustrating since we have to rest more than I'd like, but once Ralph wakes up for his last nap, we Trustalize and go for the big offense. Body slam after body slam until Dondozo finally gives in. In comes phase 2. Dondozo's mad, but we've got a Greetin for backup. Order Up doesn't hit too hard, big damage, even without stockpile, and we manage to paralyze it, letting us move first. Greetin really pulls through here, landing a tail whip before chipping away with takedown. This phase turns into a one-sided beatdown. Dondozo stays paralyzed, struggling to land a hit until we finish the job. Then come phase 3. Tatsugiri didn't put up much more of a fight. Greetin kept up the tail whips, and Aromatic Veil blocked any taunt attempts on Ralph. Greetin kept up the tail whips, and Aromatic Veil blocked any taunt attempts on Ralph. Mighty Water had me a little nervous, but with 2 tail whips in play, Tatsugiri's little act didn't last long. We closed it down and took the win. Phase 1 was done on attempt number 1, Phase 2 on number 5, and Phase 3 on number 1. Pretty good for being a level under, but Phase 2 is usually easier since you can use Arven's Pokemon to your advantage. Then comes in the final Team Star, Airy and the Calf Starmobile. Going into the fight against Airy had me on edge. I spent hours just theorizing my approach. Not only is her team naturally strong against normal types, but Annihilate, being a ghost type with solid coverage, was easily the biggest threat. Toxicroak first in. We Terrestrialize into Bug right away to resist Brick Break, making Toxicroak's hits fairly weak while Ralph sets up. Not just Stockpile this time, we're going with Workup as well. If we're going to win, we need to beat Ares' team to the punch, giving them as few moves as possible. Otherwise, Ralph is ground meat. With 3 stockpiles and 4 workups stacked, we land Play Rough for a clean Oko on Toxicroak. Toxicroak down, Annihilate in, coming in right away. Of course Ares sends out Annihilate immediately. It's got Fire Punch, so it's a real threat, but instead, it just throws out baby damage Rage Fists. Here I was, using Rest right away, thinking I was done for. 3 Rage Fists and a close combat later, still nothing. Ralph wakes up, says good day, and lands a clean, Play Rough Oko. Overprepared? No. Simple plan? Yeah. Annihilate down, Bassimian in. With the high health, Ralph makes no mistake, and after the super effective baby damage Rock Tomb, Ralph says thank you, goodbye, with the Oko. Bassimian down, Lucario in. Lucario gets a little cheeky with a flinch, but Ralph just says, please sir, may I have some more? And then lands it with a full bowl of Okos. Lucario down, Calf Starmobile in. The fastest Starmobile fight in Ralph history. I went in for rest just in case I got lost in the sauce. but Ralph wakes up turn 1 and goes in for an almost OHKO. All that spinning did Klawf some good, but that defense boost, not so much, as we take it out the very next turn. I'm sure if I used Workup one more time, I could have secured the OHKO and Klawf, but what really surprised me is how little damage they were doing on Ralph, even before Stockpile. I think that's the lowest numbers I've seen with a full setup. This was done on attempt number 1. Changing back to normal type, I miss Body Slam, and Bug type is useless for me now. Now for the Big 4 and Champ. Starting off with the first Elite 4, Rika. I give Rika a few tries before realizing I needed to prep a little more. I hit up the auction to grab some PP ups to max out Rest and Body Slam. I tried using Clear Amulet, but that was a big mistake. And so after some trial and error, I had to level up twice just to see things through. Also, Workup has been feeling hype, so I'm keeping it rolling. Whiscash is in first. Earth Power and Muddy Water made things a little spicy early on, but Ralph woke up right away after our first rest, letting us stack a bunch of workups to prep for the onslaught. All that Earth Power dropped our special defense by 1, and that Muddy Water tanked our accuracy by 1, which was a little scary after we missed the first Body Slam, but at +6 attack, Ralph wasn't about to let that slide. He landed the next one for a clean OHKO on Whiscash. Whiscash down, Camerupt in. Camerupt shut down plenty of my attempts before, but now that Ralph's all charged up, he sends it right back with a clean OHKO. Camerupt down, Donphan in. We rest up first since we can't outspeed the rest, and with an immediate wake up, I decide to terrestrialize. Ralph misses a Body Slam, but lands the next, only for Donphan's Sturdy to keep it hanging on. But there's only so much it can do before Ralph shakes its hand and sends it packing with an OHKO. Donphan down, Dugtrio in. 3 heads are better than 1, but 1 buff Lechonk is better than none. So you better run, cause its Body Slam weighs a ton. Dugtrio down, Cloudsire in. Cloudsire opens with Protect, just stalling the inevitable. Ralph rests up, then wakes up instantly. This guy's unreal. First Body Slam whiffs, but the second lands clean, leaving Cloudsire as nothing more than a stick in the mud with an OHKO. This was done on attempt number 8. Next up, the second Elite 4, Poppy. Now you're thinking, hey champ, why no Dig? Why no Bulldoze? Well, the two of them are immune to ground moves, and to even stand a chance against Tinkaton, I need to work up, rest, and stockpile. That leaves me with only one option. The move that's carried me this far. Body Slam. Kaparaja is first in. This battle against Kaparaja was probably the longest I've ever experienced, even longer than the Starmobiles. Even with the 3 stockpiles up, it was still dealing solid damage. And unlike against Rika, Ralph decided he'd love to sleep in whenever he used rest, forcing him to heal up again as soon as he woke. Eventually, Kaparaja burned through all his heavy slam PP, leaving it to cycle between high horsepower and play rough, both dealing way less damage. After 5 workups, I figured that would be enough. I terrestrialized Ralph and went in. Kaparaja held on by a sliver. A sliver! High roll damage was 221. We landed just shy at around 217. So close. And then that last hit, a crit. Right when I needed it. Kaparaja down, Corviknight in. Corviknight starts with an iron defense, letting it tank hits like a champ. Even after surviving a body press, it still takes 2 more body slams to go down. Iron defense or not, guess that just proves Corviknight's a bit tankier than Big Boy Raja. Corviknight down, Bronzong in. Now Bronzong meets the same fate as Kaparaja, getting brought down to the red. A missed Zen headbutt seals its fate, letting Ralph move on to Magnezone completely untouched. Bronzong down, Magnezone in. Now Magnezone sets up a light screen right away, almost like it has built-in priority to cover its weak special defense. We land a solid body slam, but Flash Cannon makes me nervous for Tinkaton. Ralph takes a quick rest in, and in true high fashion, wakes up immediately. The last flash cannon lowers Ralph's special defense, but with Tinkaton being a physical attacker, we're in the clear. Magnezone down, Tinkaton in. Tinkaton kicks things off with Stone Edge? Not even Gigaton Hammer? But Ralph isn't phased. He lands with an Oko crit to close out the battle in style. Save the big damage for last, huh, Ralph? This was done on attempt number 14. Now for the third Elite Four, the man, the myth, the legend, Larry. Now Larry can be a bit tricky. Even though he's running flying types this time, his team packs solid coverage. Not only do they hit hard, but they land crits exactly where they matter most. Tropius is first in. Tropius was a long one. Its Sunny Day Solar Beam combo made setting up tough, but I managed to get 3 stockpiles in before my first rest. Even then, Solid Beam still hits pretty hard. Eventually, it ran out of Solar Beam and switched to Dragon Pulse and Air Slash. Oh yeah, this was the last time I used Workup. I probably could have kept cheesing with it, but from here on out, I needed 2 different attacks, or even yawn for some breathing room to rest or set up. Either way, it was fun seeing Ralph land Okos on the Elite Four. After all that setup, Ralph finally clips Tropius' leaves with a big body slam Oko crit. Tropius down, Staraptor in. Starting off with Intimidate, of course. Staraptor comes back for revenge, but Ralph reminds it of its place with a clean Oko. Staraptor down, Altaria in. Altaria starts off with a baby damage flamethrower. I was expecting something bigger, so I had Ralph rest. Probably not the best call since I could have just gone for the Oko. And of course, Terrestrialize in my sleep. Am I okay? Body Slam finally lands, and we move on to Oricorio. Oricorio opens with a teeter dance, which worries me for a second, but Ralph stays focused and hits the perfect step. An Oko dance. Oricorio down, Flamigo next. A lot of people think Flamigo is dumb looking, but I kinda like it. Just not enough to give it the win. Down it goes, and we move on to Hassel. This attempt was done on attempt number 6. Now for the last Elite Four, Hassel. I was worried about the damage some of his Pokemon can dish out. Some with moves that can deal damage, and some that can just deal that damage. Noivern first in. Noivern's Super Fang is a pain since it cuts right through my stockpiles, keeping the pressure on me no matter what. This is where Yawn comes in clutch, letting me set up and rest without stressing too much. Or at least not as much. Near the end, it sneaks in a Dragon Pulse before dozing off, but that just lets Ralph wake up turn 1, Terrestrialize, and take it down in 2 hits. Noivern's a solid Dragon type, but with its main focus on speed, we get to take advantage of that and move on. Noivern down, Dragalge in. Dragalge ends up being the weakest link here, barely scratching Ralph before going down in just 2 quick turns. I like its design, but in this fight, it just ain't it. Dragalge down, Flapple in. I totally forgot Flapple had Leech Seed, which is why I went for Yawn. Lucky for me, it missed. Time to crush this little apple. And it misses again. And with that clutch paralysis, Ralph moves first, making sure another Leech Seed never sees the light of day. Flapple down, Haxorus in. Haxorus was the one I was second most worried about since I couldn't still dish out decent damage to our stockpile. I went for a full body slam to gauge the damage and set it up for a clean Oko, making sure that'd be as healthy as possible for Bexcalibur. Unlucky for us, Ralph decides to take a full nap, forcing me to throw out another yawn and rest immediately. But this time, Haxorus takes a full 3-turn sleep, letting us secure the win with a clutch body slam crit. Haxorus down, Bexcalibur in. Big boy Baxi kicks things off with a Glaive Rush, and that's the biggest damage I've seen with a stockpile. The second one hits even harder, almost taking out Ralph, but he hangs on. And as Bexcalibur drifts off to sleep, we say goodnight and flatten it one last time to claim the victory. This was done on attempt number 3. Now for the champion, Geeta. Geeta was hands down the toughest opponent I faced. I lost count of how many times I had to switch things up and try again. First in is Spathra. Espathra was a nightmare to set up against thanks to Lumina Crash dropping my self-defense. On top of that, its opportunist ability means every boost I got, it got too. I tried using Yawn, but giving it a free turn just made things worse. Clear Amulet? Huge mistake. Losing Eviolite meant it took over half my HP in one hit. The best plan? Take Espathra out immediately and set up against Avalugg instead. It gets a reflect up, but Ralph lands a body slam crit, shutting it down right away. What a way to kick things off. Espathra down, Avalugg in. And Avalugg hits hard, so setting up here was a gamble. Luckily, it misses the first body press, giving Ralph 2 free stockpile charges. Reflect finally fades, but Ralph needs a rest. And of course, he takes the full sleep duration, letting Avalugg land some solid hits. We get one body slam in before I decide to play it safe with another rest. This time, Ralph wakes up immediately and slams Avalugg down with one final hit, keeping a good chunk of health for what's next. Avalugg down, King Gambit in. King Gambit doesn't get much power from being the third one in, making Kowtow Cleave hit like baby damage. Body Slam isn't great against steel types, but it still does more than enough to win the race. We get lucky with an immediate paralysis, letting us stay healthy for the fight against Go-Goat. King Gambit down, Go-Goat in. Go-Goat was barely scratching Ralph, and healing even less. With no real threat of it outpacing any damage, I take the chance to rest, making sure Ralph is fresh for Veluza. He wakes up immediately and lands a big body slam, putting an end to Go-Goat's terrifying Horn Leech. Go-Goat down, Veluza in. Liquidation's defense drop isn't too concerning, but that big body slam leaving Veluza at 1 HP? I'm having Kaparaja flashbacks. Luckily, Liquidation misses, and Ralph shuts down this liquidation sale. Veluza down, Glimmora in. Last up is Glimmora, and this is where Iron Head shines. Super effective in keeping our damage high. Terra Blast means nothing. One final Iron Head seals our victory, crowning Ralph Oinken as the true Paldean champion. This was done on attempt number 28. Up next is the head honcho himself, Director Clavell, the man who thought he could pull the wool from right under us. Oranguru is first in, and this was my final yawn rival, trying to pull the old yawn or Dream Eater combo. Ralph takes the first yawn but stays focused, stockpiling to keep damage low while he sleeps. After waking up, he lands the third stockpile and body slam before another yawn comes in. But Ralph, he sleeps on his own terms, even after Oranguru throws out 2 more yawns in a row. A few Dream Eaters later, Ralph wakes up, shakes it off, and body slams for the win. Right after one last parting yawn. Oranguru down, Abomasnow in. With snow warning. Since we were about to fall asleep anyway, I figured a rest would be good here. Better to tank Abomasnow's big attacks with a full pot of health. Woodhammer crits, but surprisingly, it doesn't hit as hard as I expected. A huge relief. Even so, I rest again, just in case. The damage was adding up, and I didn't want Abomasnow turning this into a war of attrition. Then the snow stops, Aurora Veil fades, and just like that, Ralph wakes up from hibernation and takes it out in one clean hit. Abomasnow down, Gyarados in. Gyarados' Intimidate is a little annoying, but we press on. Luckily, its defense isn't the best, so even with the drop, we still take it out in 2 hits, leaving the battle healthy and strong. -1. Gyarados down, Amoonguss in. We land good damage on Amoonguss, but it wastes no time hitting us with Toxic. Not wanting to deal with that later on and hoping Ralph would expel it on his own, I decide to rest. Ralph takes a full nap, while Giga Drain isn't so giga with its baby damage. Finally, he wakes up, lands another body slam, and keeps this flow of domination going. Amoonguss down, Poltergeist in. Will-O-Wisp was annoying, and we'll be seeing it quite a few times against Poltergeist. The upside, its weak armor ability drops its defense, so even while burned, we're still dealing damage. Now that Poltergeist is 1 hit away, I want to finish it off so I could take on Skeledirge without nerf damage. Unfortunately, the one time I didn't want an early wake up, I get it. Since Ralph isn't asleep anymore, Poltergeist gets the chance to Will-O-Wisp again, instead of Ralph waking up and attacking the same turn. Burn heals, a missed Will-O-Wisp, and finally we end it with a Bulldoze. What a ride. Poltergeist down, Skeledirge in. Here's the funny thing, the rain starts up, nerfing Torch Song into baby damage. And then I go for Bulldoze instead of Body Slam. I guess Geeta really drained me. But in the end, Clavell's done, and it's time to keep moving. This was done on the first try. Up next, Team Star's big boss, Penny. Each one of them has baby doll eyes, proving this to be a huge issue. So I took out Bulldoze for Hyper Voice for those defense heavy mons. Umbreon is first in. During setup, Umbreon sneaks in a baby doll eyes. Clear Amulet made Ralph too weak to keep up, so I stuck with Eviolite and hoped for the best. Umbreon's Synchronized bounces Paralysis back at us, but a simple rest fixes that, with an immediate wake up no less. Sensing its defeat, Umbreon throws out one last baby doll eyes before getting sent back with 2 more body slams. Now we've got our 2 times attack reduction. Fun. Umbreon down, Flareon in. Flare Blitz barely scratches Ralph, but the burn, that's a problem. A quick body slam, then straight into rest to clear it. Gotta keep that burn away. Ralph takes a full nap while Flareon chips away at his health, but once he wakes up, body slam secures the win. Now we're heading into Vaporeon with a risky amount of health. Flareon down, Vaporeon in. Vaporeon pulls up, firing off baby damage Hydro Pumps. Not exactly a threat, but I'm not taking chances. Rest it is. One Hydro Pump misses while Ralph enjoys his full nap. Once he's up, we test the waters with Body Slam. Then for no real reason, I go for Hyper Voice. I guess I just felt like it. Either way, Vaporeon's down, and we keep moving. Vaporeon down, Jolteon in. Jolteon isn't much of a hard hitter, but its speed is what makes it tricky. Ralph doesn't mind though. He lands the hits, while Jolteon just misses every single move. And to put the cherry on top, Body Slam crit. Jolteon down, Leafeon in. Leafeon comes in swinging, landing a huge crit right off the bat. Turns out, Hyper Voice is the better move here. Leafeon's defense is no joke. It goes for another Leaf Blade crit, but Ralph refuses to back down, taking a well-earned rest. He is in this for the long haul. This time, no crits. But Leafeon tries to be sneaky with baby doll eyes before getting blasted away with Hyper Voice. Leafeon down, Sylveon in. Sylveon's Moonblast barely tickles, but Ralph is done. Body Slam crit, wiping away all those baby eyes like they were never there. This was done on attempt number 2. Now for Nemona. Not as a rival, but as champion versus champion. Forgetting to save? No big deal. This is one of those battles we have to win, so if we lose, we just set it properly and go again. Lycanroc first in. Lycanroc landed a solid first Stone Edge, but then missed twice, giving us time to max out Stockpile. I went for an attack, completely forgetting to Terrasilize. If I had, Ralph probably would have won in 2 hits. But hey, Lycanroc missed Stone Edge again, so that kinda counts as 2 turns, right? Lycanroc down, Palmet in. Here we go, another big hitter. Nemona sends it out early and I brace for those close combat, but she goes for quick attack instead. Super strange, but hey, I'll take it. Palmet down, Orthworm in. Orthworm's body press does decent damage, so Ralph goes for a rest. This battle had me a little worried. A steel type with sky-high defense isn't exactly ideal, but its damage output wasn't enough to be a real threat. Ralph wakes up immediately and starts body slamming away. The second one paralyzes, letting Ralph move first, so I rest again while Orthworm just sits there unable to move. Turn 1 wake up again. 2 more body slams to seal the deal. Orthworm is out, never to be seen again. Orthworm down, Dunsparce in. Oh, the Dunsparce in. The Dunsparce's Hyper Drill used to hit hard, but now, Ralph shrugs it off. In just 2 turns, Ralph proves he's the dominant normal type, sending the Dunsparce packing and moving on to Goodra. The Dunsparce down, Goodra in. Ralph starts with a healthy rest, while Gudra's Dragon Pulse does baby damage, barely a tickle. After a full nap, Ralph wakes up swinging, Body Slam connects and paralyzes Gudra. With Gudra one hit away, I go for another rest, prepping for Clavell. Gudra fights back with 2 Dragon Pulses, but it's not enough. Ralph wakes up and slams the door on Gudra's chances. Gudra down, Clavell in. Clavell tries to be clever with Brick Break, but it whiffs completely, leaving an opening for Ralph's Body Slam crit, almost taking it out in one. It goes for Aqua Step, but at this point, it's just dancing for nothing. One last Body Slam ends the show, securing the win and proving once and for all that Ralph Oinken is just built different. This was done on attempt number 1. Now we can finally end this and... oh, I forgot about Arven. Greeting is first in. Well, I didn't level up against Penny and Nemona, so it's like I did fight Arven before Nemona. Greeting comes in swinging in with a crit, but Ralph shrugs it off like it's just another day at the office. By the third stockpile, Ralph gets paralyzed and it's time to rest up. He takes a full nap, while Greeting's Body Slam hits like a pillow fight. When Ralph wakes up, he nearly OHKOs the chunky squirrel, providing once again that his Body Slam reigns supreme. When Greeting's out, and the belt stays with Ralph. Greeting down, Garganacl in. Garganacl, the walking fortress, comes in with its high defense and bulk, but Ralph doesn't care. A crit Body Slam kicks things off, and even without it, I'm pretty sure this would still be a 3-hit KO. Garganacl whiffs one Stone Edge, lands another, but it's not enough to stop Ralph from crushing it back to the earth where it belongs. Garganacl down, Toadscrew in. Toadscrew swings in with a Power Whip and completely misses. Ralph wastes no time and whips back even harder, landing a clean OHKO. Toadscrew down, Scovillain in. Scovillain fires off a Fire Blast. It lands, but Ralph barely flinches. He slams back even harder, landing another clean OHKO. That's 2 in a row. Scovillain down, Cloyster in. The OHKO streak ends as Cloyster arrives, dishing out some baby damage. Ralph fires back with a huge Body Slam, taking it below health and landing the paralysis. With Mabostiff up next and Cloyster practically done, it's time for a rest. Cloyster sneaks in a crit during that, lowering Ralph's defense, so his health isn't as high as I wanted, but I decide against another rest. Ralph wakes up, slams down, and gets ready for the final fight. Cloyster down, Mabostiff in. Mabostiff lunges in with Crunch, sinking its massive jaws in, but Ralph shrugs it off and goes for a rest, only to wake up immediately. From here, it's Crunch versus Body Slam, a battle of brute force, but Ralph's slam hits harder, taking on Mabostiff in just 3 clean turns and securing yet another victory. This was done on attempt number 1. Now we can finally put an end to this and greet AI Sada. While pushing through Area 0, Ralph leveled up to 87, marking our entry level for this battle. Nothing else noteworthy happened along the way, just Ralph ready to prove once again why he's the best. AI Sada, coming in. I first tried running Hyper Voice over Bulldoze, but Slitherwing became a problem right from the start. And of course, I completely forgot Fluttermane existed, so I made some adjustments and went with Iron Head instead. Slitherwing first in. Leech Life is taking a good chunk of health right away during setup. Luckily, Lunge misses, letting Ralph finish setting up without too much trouble before going on the attack. The second Lunge connects, dropping Ralph's attack. It's a guaranteed drop, so that's kinda scary. Fortunately, Slitherwing switches up its moves while Ralph takes a quick nap. But not quick enough, as Ralph sleeps through the full duration before continuing the Body Slam onslaught. Slitherwing lands one more lunge, lowering our attack by 2 before we finally take it out. It's time to lock in. Slitherwing down, Screamtail in. Despite Drain Punch being super effective, it does babe damage, partly thanks to Screamtail's weird stat spread, bulk everywhere except damage. Ralph lands Body Slam and gets the paralysis, giving us the speed advantage. From there, it's just a matter of whittling it down. Screamtail lands one Drain Punch, but then gets fully paralyzed, and after a few more Body Slams, it finally screams Submit. Screamtail down, Brute Bonnet in. Brute Bonnet wasn't much different than Amoonguss, just darker moves in the mix. Body Slam comes in clutch again with a first turn paralysis, letting Ralph move first unless Sucker Punch says otherwise. Taking the chance, we rest, and Brute Bonnet gets paralyzed right after. Ralph wakes up instantly and starts his Body Slam onslaught, shrugging off 2 Sucker Punches and 1 payback before securing the win. Now it's time to handle the glass cannon itself, Flutter Mane. Flutter Mane surprisingly hits like a pillow, giving Ralph an easy win in just 2 quick turns with a super effective Iron Head. On top of that, we level up mid-battle, getting a small but appreciated stat boost for the final stretch. Flutter Mane down, Sandy Shocks in. Ralph takes a rest on turn 1, knowing Roaring Moon is coming up and we need to be ready. Sandy Shock struggles to land a hit, missing 2 Earth powers before finally connecting. But once Ralph wakes up, he's had enough. With 1 devastating Body Slam crit, Ralph secures an Oko, rolling into Roaring Moon with a solid amount of health and all the confidence in the world. Sandy Shocks down, Roaring Moon in. Photosynthesis activates, boosting Roaring Moon's attack, and it immediately slashes in with a Dragon Claw, dealing 40 damage. A solid hit, but nothing Ralph can't handle. Ralph retaliates with a Body Slam, landing a clean hit and paralyzing Roaring Moon, slowing it down. Night Slash follows up, dealing slightly less damage, but Ralph sees his moment and lands a crushing Body Slam crit, shaking the battlefield and claiming victory. This was done on attempt number 2. And just like that, it's over. Ralph Oinken, the humble, determined, ever-resilient solo Lechonk, has conquered Paldea, standing victorious as its champion. With Stockpile, Rest, and Body Slam, he endured crit after crit, debuffs, and even a near-invincible Avalugg, proving time and time again that power isn't just about strength, it's about perseverance. He didn't just defeat the Pokémon League, he saved the region from an invasion of Paradox Pokémon, outstanding the very limits of time itself. And so, with the greatest treasure of all by our side, we bid farewell to AI Sada and walk into the sunset knowing that Ralph Oinken's legend will live on forever. This was his story. Let's look at the final stats, shall we? That's a legendary send-off for Ralph Oinken, a Paldean champion and reliable partner. From humble beginnings to standing tall against the strongest trainers in the region, he truly left his mark. Aromatic Veil definitely pulled its weight, and honestly, Geeta earning the title of toughest opponent feels fitting. But the Paradox Pokemon, surprisingly underwhelming in damage. Maybe their stats leaned too much into speed and attack, rather than raw power. Our journey ends, but another begins. This time, the challenge lies in the hands of something much smaller, yet far from defenseless. A tiny warrior, a heavy burden, and a hammer that just might shape its destiny. Can this tiny smith forge a victory? Tune in next time.